Today is July 15th, 2019, and you're listening to episode 13 of Manchild and the Oldguy. He is the Manchild, a bearded 20-something, and I'm the Oldguy, a cynical Gen Xer. This is your intergenerational podcast where we discuss pop culture, faith, politics, and whatever we find interesting, broadcasting from the basement because that is where Mom lets us. I'm the Oldguy.
And I'm the Manchild.
Welcome to our stream of consciousness. Except I find it difficult today to call you the bearded 20-something because you and Girlchild decided to hack your face up.
Yeah. We got a machete and we just chopped the skin off. My skin's growing back, but my beard is growing back as well with it. So it appears as if I shaved my beard. The reality is I just cut off all my skin.
Oh, is that what it is? So you're a reptile now?
Oh, something like that. They're going to find out when they storm Area 51.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 1.3 million people have signed up for that now.
I would love to see 1%. Half of 1% of those guys even show up to go do that.
There's some terrific memes out there about that.
Oh, they're hilarious. I saw the church memes are so funny where it's... People just have all these alien puppets all over, and they're like, "Oh, me and my alien after we go to Area 51, I get my alien, and we go to church." And it's this weird dancing alien in the church.
One of my favorites is a guy with his girlfriend out on a picnic, and an alien has come out of her stomach, and the caption something like, "Realized my girlfriend went to the Area 51 rally," or something like that. You know, got
That's a good one.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. There's a lot been happening in the last week since our last episode. Now, we've had some issues uploading.
Yeah, there have been some technical... Okay, more of... I can't say technical difficulties. There's been some issues. So, we skipped an episode because...
We didn't skip an episode. We skipped a week.
We skipped the same difference. Whatever.
No, it's not.
Yeah, we skipped a week because they were out of town. And I had classes all that week, and everything was pretty hectic, and then... after we do the shows, Oldguy sends me the link to the show in OneDrive, and I download it and upload it. And then I just got sidetracked, and then I just sat around for a little bit.
Well,
it's been 2 weeks. That's it. It's been two
episodes. But episodes 11 and 12 are up now.
Yeah, they're definitely up. I listened to them.
Well, in episode 11, admittedly, I stuck it in the wrong folder.
Yeah.
Until last night, and then I sent it to you.
Which I think was the other issue was that, and I looked at it because when you I think. 11 was, you didn't send it until, in the middle of the week, and I think I looked at it, and it wasn't there. I'm like, oh, so it must not be there, and I just never did anything with it. And then 12 came, and then I just didn't. So I think there's fault on both sides here. But
wow, you accepted some blame in this.
I always accept my blame when we make a mistake. See what I'm doing there? I'm dragging us both down.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
I just want to congratulate you, though, Dad. Your headphones are on right today.
They are? I didn't even check.
Good job, man. I am proud of you. I know you worked really hard to do that.
They honestly don't feel any different.
I'm sure on your old, hairy ears they don't. But on my fragile, young, tiny, supple little ears, they do.
Yeah.
That's why I wear my nice Lost and Found Beats headphones. There's no way I'm going to buy these things. Gosh.
Yeah.
But I definitely like them. There's status symbol. Yeah. Speaking of status symbol, so before I get in my main rant today...
You got a side rant?
I don't know if it's a side rant. It's something I've been thinking about a lot. So since I started working at Best Buy, one of the main things they do, which is this goes into later in my main topic, is they talk about the credit card. They really want to push it. And the financing they do at Best Buy, not like a native ad or anything here, but it's actually a pretty fair deal. Like when you look at the amount, because I sell appliances, so I break down the payments and everything people do, because it's not the same as cash. You have to make a minimum balance, pay the minimum balance every month. Excuse me. And
thank you.
Yeah. But if you add up how many months you do and how much you pay, you really don't pay anything, right? Which is that everyone talks about how we're going to charge crazy interest. The crazy interest comes in when you don't make that minimum balance payment, or if you wait until after the 12 months to pay off.
Well, but it's not simply the crazy interest. If you do 12 months same as cash, but you don't pay it off, they keep track of what the interest would have been throughout the 12 months.
They throw it all on.
And if you don't pay it off before that 12 months hit, then all of that interest instantly goes onto your balance.
Yeah, well,
Which
there's
could
the
be
problem. We don't
hundreds of dollars.
We don't do same as cash. A lot of people assume that it's not. It's the minimum thing. But anyway, with that, it just piqued my interest because I was like, oh, I don't really want to do credit or get a credit card. So no matter what, I love Dave Ramsey. I think he makes some great points with things, but some of his stuff is total and utter bullcrap. You don't need credit. That's debatable. Then two, he's like, there's so many other ways you can make credit besides going into debt. You really can't.
Well, that's the definition of credit, isn't it? Debt.
Right. And then he's
and
like...
we've talked about this before, about whether or not you can exist now without a credit card or without some kind of...
Yeah, and I hear people say, well, the bank won't deny you, an account if you have bad credit. I'm like, actually, yeah, there are some banks that will deny you.
Yeah, you can't get any... I deal with people all the time in my line of work in social services. Mm-hmm. There's people who can't even get a checking account. They can get a savings account, but that's it. They can't get a checking account.
That's why so many jobs are going to this pay card system, is because there's no way those people can get checking. But anyways, we'll talk about more of the credit later. It's just opened my eyes to some things where I'm like, oh, well, I'm not a big fan of throwing a whole bunch of money down at one time. But I'd rather save up than pay for it. But at the same time, like, I really wish I could just throw like $50 at this thing every month or whatever, and that'd be great. I think that's kind of why the financing is there. I'd never use it in a way that, I do it really just to build credit or get the rewards or whatever. I wouldn't, if I was going to buy a speaker, I would make sure I can afford that speaker right now. If I wanted to, I could buy that speaker right now. But I'm just going to put it on the credit card. I can make the payments on it, or I can just get the rewards back. Right, that's the way I look at it. And that's just brought up some stuff because we have a whole Apple area at Best Buy, all this tech and everything, which is very tempting when you work there. Even the employee discounts, while they're great on some things, are lacking on many others. It's just made me think about a couple things where I was debating about myself. Like, oh, am I just getting tempted to buy a bunch of new things and cool things because I'm at Best Buy? Or, oh, what's this? Why do I want to get an Apple TV or my own Roku? Oh, got them at the house. Or why do I do this? Why do I want to do that? And I think it came to a realization earlier today where it's not so much that it's working at Best Buy that's made me want to get like the Apple TV. And I'll just go on a quick thing about the Apple TV. So the Apple TV is a little different than the Roku or the Amazon Stick or whatever. I think you can do it with the Amazon Box. I don't know. I think the other hockey puck things do it too. Yeah. So you can do Netflix, Hulu, you can do all that basic stuff, but it has Apple AirPlay. So all Apple devices are interconnected through AirPlay, which is a different thing from Bluetooth or anything. So it doesn't matter if it's an iPod, your laptop, your whatever, your phone. You press AirPlay and it will stream music, it'll stream videos, pictures, or your entire desktop or your phone straight to a TV that has AirPlay. You can do it with any device back and forth, which is a cool feature. And then you have iTunes. So the big thing is... Whoa, whatever.
The virus.
Yeah, which really doesn't exist anymore. I don't know, it's kind of confusing. The app is still there, but they're deconstructing it pretty slowly. So I own a couple movies on iTunes. But the thing with the Apple TV, the way it's made is that it has a hard drive in it. And you download everything you own from iTunes. All your music, all your movies, things like that. The idea is that when you go to all these other places around the world, you go to a friend's house, all you have to do is deconnect it and then plug it in to another...
Deconnect, or you meant unconnect?
Unconnect, whatever. Disconnect it, and then you go to a friend's house or something, you plug it in, and you have your entire movie collection. You have all your photos, videos, and then when it's there, someone's like, oh, I didn't get the DVD for this movie. Oh, yeah, no problem. I'll just rent it on iTunes on my phone and just click. You don't even need Wi-Fi. You can just to use it. All those features will stream directly from your phone. Anyway, so there's...
Wait. How do you not need Wi-Fi?
Because AirPlay doesn't work off Wi-Fi.
Well, how are you communicating to it then? Does it have its own cell service?
No, it has to be plugged in, but the way
is it plugged into a network in the house?
It's I'm saying it's the most similar thing to it is Bluetooth, but AirPlay is its own patented thing from.
So how does it if you're
Dude, I don't know.
How is it that if you're on the
if we had an Apple TV like in our neighbor house over there, I can press this, and whatever I'm watching will just start playing over there if I had access to it.
That far away.
Pretty close, yeah.
Without Wi-Fi.
Yeah, there's a lot of the newer ones you can do them without Wi-Fi now. But anyway,
I mean, if it has its own
I don't pretend to understand how all this kind of works, but it's
okay. I'm gonna have to look that one up
sure. I'm just saying that the way it works is that you don't necessarily need Wi-Fi to just AirPlay, because you can AirPlay music from your phone to another iPhone too. But as far as I know, you don't have to have Wi-Fi for it. I think some of the stuff on your phone you need service, but outside of that, anyways, all I'm trying to get with this is that. I like Apple products. That's why I kind of lean towards those versus some other ones. But the thing I've been thinking about is it because...
Okay, wait.
Okay.
To send and receive streaming audio and video with AirPlay, the devices you're using must be connected to the same local network. This connection could be wireless using Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or wired using Ethernet. Without Airport Express, you can use an existing home network setup, such as a wireless router.
Yeah,
so it's using...
I just said it uses Bluetooth.
But it's also using... It can use Bluetooth or Wi-Fi.
That's what I'm saying, is that it can use all these things. I don't know.
You said it's like Bluetooth.
I said the closest thing to it is like Bluetooth. I am not going on a thing about how, it uses this technology, uses it. I don't know. I don't know.
I know. For my own sanity... I needed to understand what the...
but as far as I know,
what you're saying,
the closest thing to AirPlay is Bluetooth, except it works with every Apple device.
No, it uses Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Either one.
Look, Bluetooth is one service, Wi-Fi is one service. However, it combines them all up some way or another to make them all communicate really well. And I've used it with other friends' devices, and it's.
I'm sure it works just fine. Fabulous. Just like when I. Are you adjusting your mic? Are you going to make a lot of noise? I can shut it off.
No.
Oh, wait, I just shut you off.
No.
Are you done adjusting?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to turn you back on.
Thanks. Am I back on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay, go ahead with your what?
Well, all I'm saying is you made it sound like Apple came up with its own...
I'm just saying it's a patented thing. I don't really know how
well,
it all works.
I'm sure the software is...
Great, dude. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just stop right there. Just stop. Kill it. Because I don't know. We can argue about this.
I'm not arguing.
No, you are.
I'm
You're
simply
like, I'm looking
saying...
up this. All I know is that it uses a bunch of different systems that other people don't necessarily use because it's patented by Apple. How AirPlay works, I don't get it. Because there's some things on there that just seem pretty nuts to me. How it's able just to stream things to other stuff, even if it's an old computer to a new TV, it streams it really, really well, really quick.
When I pull the Roku app on my phone, I click a button, whatever's on my phone or my tablet or computer, boop, pops up on the TV. So it's pretty universal. Most providers have something along those lines. Yeah.
I just like the
you like Apple's interface.
Yeah, I like the interface
for some reason, but
I like their ecosystem because I don't want to mess with it. I just want it to work. And Apple, in my opinion, has the best. It just works. Like they could do that as a motto. Apple, it just works. And it'd make me want to buy it. Anyways, when I'm going on with
me want to buy it.
Oh, great! Yeah, that's your thing. You want to have total control of everything. I just want the thing to work. Get the updates. Keep working. That's all I wanted to do.
Why?
Thank you.
Why?
First one
why?
for the podcast.
That's the second one today.
No, the first one I stopped. I stopped the first one. It was not audible. It was not audible.
Oh, no, I heard it.
Well, you can hear whatever you want. You're sitting in front of me. This is for the podcast listeners. Our great podcast listeners that you just want to say thank you.
Thank you for suffering through another belch by the Manchild.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad. Let me just finish my main point before I get into the whole credit system here. Is that...
So we're not even in the Zoomer rant yet.
Dude, this was a side thing that you you just kept taking for the stupid AirPlay thing. You're like, well, how does it do? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. It's a topic for another time.
I felt like you were speaking nonsense for a second, and I had to figure it out.
Whatever. Yeah, sure. But all I'm trying to say, because I want to get to the rant, I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. Thanks. Is that I realize it's not so much that I just really want all these different kind of things. It's that I don't have any of those kind of things. Like, how many Roku devices do you have?
Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4.
How many do I have?
I have no idea.
None. And it didn't really hit me until we moved Girl Child into her apartment, and we were talking about getting her Wi-Fi at some point. and all this kind of stuff, and that the idea that we could be getting married within for the foreseeable future. How does that saying
in
go?
the foreseeable
In
future?
the foreseeable future, and like not too far off or anything like that. That I was like, I don't have any of these kind of things that I use all the time around the house. I don't have any of that. I just use what you guys have, and we just call it houses. So it's just been in the thought at the back of my head, like, well, maybe I should
start investing in something.
Yeah.
Are you planning on moving out? Is that what you're saying?
I'm gonna get married.
Oh, you're gonna move out when you get married?
Yeah.
Good.
Thanks, Dad. I'll still. Hey, but we'll figure it out. If you guys ever have to move, we'll do this podcast over Skype or.
Oh yeah, we'll figure it out. We
whatever.
got to figure out when I go over to Europe
Yeah,
here
yeah,
in a few
yeah,
weeks.
yeah,
A few
that's
months,
true.
I should say.
Yeah, we got some time. But anyway, so I just figured out it's like it was more this realization, like I don't have any of the kind of any of that kind of stuff we use all the time. I just don't have it, and that's why. I've been not craving, but I've been like looking at prices, and I'm like, oh, is this a good investment? Will this last me a really long time? It's because I don't have any of that stuff of my own. Now I'm getting to that point where I want to have it of my own, so that I don't know. Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. You watch your own stuff. I mean, I've settled on Roku after trying several different systems.
Yep, the Fire TV sucks. Sucks.
It's terrible. You also can't watch Vudu if you have a...
I steer every customer away at Best Buy from it. I show them the interfaces. I'm like, see this? This is just Amazon pushing Amazon on you, which is annoying.
They allow Netflix through the Fire Stick. Excuse me, or Fire TV. But they don't allow... If you have a large content on Vudu, which I do, Walmart's streaming service and digital movie holder, placeholder. Great. Yeah, which works fantastic. And I can download the movies on any device, computer, tablet, phone, watch them on an airplane later, etc., etc., etc. Plus, you can watch free stuff on there as long as you want to put up with commercials every once in a while, just like you do on Hulu. But regardless, Amazon doesn't allow that through their system, but Roku does. But Roku has a really good, simple interface and works well. And I'm brand loyal, so when I find something that works, I stick with it.
No, I mean I feel the same way. That's one of the reasons like I really like the Apple stuff. It's just
that's why
I got a 10-year-old MacBook Pro that like it doesn't get the newest update, but the app. So a lot of the devices they kind of like keel over with, or like we're not going to support anymore. They send them like a final update, it's like a special update where it gives it a certain kind of software that will just last. Like it doesn't need another update. You're not going to get some of the newest versions of apps, but you can still download the versions of apps that worked with your thing last, which is different. Some things like Android, there's some versions of that where it just doesn't. Like if you get too high up on the stuff, they kill off some of the apps. But anyways,
well, Apple does the same thing though.
Yeah, there's a couple because they switched. There used to be 16-bit games on there. Like I bought one a long time ago, but it was the Rocket Jump or I don't remember what it was. It was some jetpack joyride or some whatever zombie killing thing. Well, like the app doesn't even exist anymore because it was a 16-bit game and they don't support those anymore.
Yeah, they just didn't update that.
And that's what everyone else is kind of going to as well. So that was just my realization is that I don't have any of that kind of stuff, and I feel like now would be a decent time to just kind of.
As long as you have the money to start investing in some of those things, sure.
Yeah. Which brings into the idea of credit. I thought, well, I could drop all the money right now and just get it. But someone's flushing the toilet. Thank you. Yeah. But then I thought, well...
We are in the basement.
Very true. Thanks, Mom. But what if I could get a credit card? What if I could get a credit card and finance this kind of stuff? I can get rewards and also be able to get a credit score, which at some point, whatever Dave Ramsey and these other jokes on the internet say, you're in a modern day now, you do need a credit score, all right? They got the social credit system in China. We got a credit score in the United States that keeps track of every stupid little thing you do. And I've been trying to get credit. My entire life, this is what I've been told, is, paying your phone bill and paying your car insurance counts as your credit. No, it doesn't.
It used to.
Yeah, but...
So when people told you those kind of things, they were not incorrect. Because if you grew up in my generation, Gen Xers, that was true. If you made any kind of payment on time, it was registered and that was noted.
Yeah, so I always thought growing up, before I ever thought about a credit card, I had great credit. I thought I was doing fine until I went to Wells Fargo a couple of years ago, and every month they send you a thing, your FICO score for free. You don't access it, whatever. Gives you an update and everything like that. Except it always said you don't exist. It didn't, and then a couple other places would send me things like you don't have a credit score. We can't do a background check on that.
This is because we're in that microservices architecture. Everything's automated, and so it's just like some of the kids at the stores, when you try to get them to make change, they can't do it without the cash register telling them what to do. So these companies can't figure out what to do if they don't get feedback from some computer system that looks at your FICO score.
Yeah,
because it's all automated.
Yeah, which sucks for me because I can't even apply to the freaking credit card at the store I work at. All right, so my bank, Great Southern Bank, they're very nice. You know, when I open an account, they sent me a handwritten note thanking me for opening a bank account and wishing me the best of luck. That's how I know I wanted to be with
They also
Great
give
Southern.
you suckers.
Yeah, they do. Every time you go in, they're very nice. They're courteous, very nice people. Anyways, my banker there told me that, hey, you should go to a store you go to really frequently and get an in-store credit card. That's probably the best bet for you to starting your credit. And I said, okay. At the time, I was thinking like Farm and Fleet or something, but I really don't go there that often. Then I thought about, well, what about Walmart or Target? I don't know. Felt hinky about going there, but then I started working at Best Buy not too long later, and I thought, well, I'll get the Best Buy credit card. Not instantly approved. Okay. And then I get a paper from Citibank, the people that run their credit card, and it says, "Oh, you don't have enough data for us to give you a credit card," because as the saying goes, no credit is bad credit.
Mm-hmm.
So not just like last week, I applied for it again.
I will say about 10 years ago, you probably could have got a Best Buy credit card. But about 10 years ago, Best Buy switched, and it's when I stopped using my Best Buy credit card. They switched from having an in-store credit card to having a Visa card.
No, you had two cards. It was in-store and Visa.
My in-store card, they said, would stop working.
Oh,
and
that was
it had come.
baloney.
Well, and they sent me a Visa card, and I didn't want a Best Buy Visa card because I didn't want to. I could get points towards Best Buy if I bought gas on my Best Buy Visa, but I didn't. I only used the Best Buy card to get extra points to buy movies later. Yeah. And so as soon as they were forcing me into the Visa card, I stopped using my Best Buy credit card. I haven't used it in almost 10 years now.
Yeah, so it doesn't exist really anymore. Your card, it's
probably is.
They made it so after 11 months and 25 days. It's something weird. It's not like just 12 months period. Yeah. The card just deactivates automatically. Yeah. That way they can have you reapply again. Mm-hmm. Just in time for Christmas.
Sure.
That's why it's that weird time. So it's not exact. So if you bought something this day last year, by the time it's time for you to buy another thing for Christmas, your card's already expired because our thing doesn't go exactly a year. Yeah. Which is a great marketing scheme.
Well, it's to goad people into spending money, right?
Yeah, which, I'm an appliance salesman.
Because they make so much money off the interest on and late fees on these credit cards.
Yeah, it's 27%.
It's unimaginable.
Yeah. So I applied for it again, like last week from Citibank thinking, well, I've waited a little bit, and I decided to not fudge the numbers or anything, like when I asked you your annual net income, what you pay for rent or things. But I was, totally honest the first time, and they didn't get it, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just, I don't know, make it round the numbers, I don't know, make it look cleaner. I didn't know what else to do, and it still says, oh, you're not instantly approved. I'm going to get a letter in, a week or two, explaining the exact same thing, you don't exist. And I can't get a credit card really anywhere. Credit Karma, which I think we've talked about before, is owned by Google or something now. So they just refer you to products that
it's not owned by Google, but it is the primary stockholder, or I'd say majority stockholder in Credit Karma is Alphabet Inc.
Yeah.
So they're controlling the company.
Yeah, which, if you can give me a good credit score, I don't care.
But it's been shown already that Credit Karma is not giving you a FICO score.
Yeah.
It's giving you a arbitrary made up number. And so if you go click on their ads and go to vendors through the app and such, then you can increase your Credit Karma score.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
have you ever used Credit Karma?
No, I refuse to because I don't.
There
need
is
to.
no Credit Karma. It has the Equifax and one of the other companies. And
but
then
if you
when you click on that, it shows all your information because you give all your information to it. It shows all the information why Equifax is giving you the score, ways to challenge it or whatever, and then this is a link to actually go to it. But then it warns you like, hey, if you click on this, there's going to be a hard inquiry into your credit. And so it gives you all the information. Sure, it might be a little weird.
But there's still something hinky that they're doing because they say, they being Credit Karma, click on this and make your insurance payment on time, and then your credit score will go up. It makes recommendations for you.
It's got a whole recommendations tab, which is just based off your credit. Like for me,
it's based off you spending more money.
Yeah, to go into debt is not what we established at the beginning of this podcast. Is
right.
That debt is king, not cash. Debt.
Well, right now, because I mean, the only country in the world whose bonds, which supply a country with debt and create money for a country, that isn't in a negative position, is the United States.
Yeah, boy.
Most of Europe and other countries are actually giving you negative interest rates on your bonds, but the United States still has several percentage.
It is, I think, not. I don't think it's the top bond in the world.
Well, we're not AAA rated anymore or something,
but it's
because we have so much debt.
Yeah, so it's not AAA rated because of that, but it is one of the most steadfast bonds. Where what is that? What is the word I'm trying to say? Like it's just if you're gonna get a bond, that is the go-to bond to get because you can trust it. But anyway, so my issue is how the heck am I supposed to build credit? I see these people and I read these things that say, hey, some banks will do certified credit cards or whatever, where they take like $500 out of your savings and they put it in this account, and when you're spending money, you're really spending your money out of that account, and then you pay it back into that account, and the bank will throw like a buck or two on it, or I don't know how the heck it's supposed to work.
There's different schemes, and there's schemes.
I don't know. It's supposed to be there to help build credit, and then some other people were like, "Hey, just take a $2,000 personal loan out, and then pay back the loan with the money you got from the loan, and then that will build credit." I'm like, okay, then and I hear people at work tell me, "Oh, make sure to miss 1 or 2 payments. That way, there's a little bit of debt that you can pay off." No, I'm not gonna do it because I'm sure at some point in the algorithms that's great for it. That is not great for me to instantly just be in debt.
That is terrible advice.
Well, that's what everyone believes, is that if you just skip a payment and then you throw money at it right away in the first month or something like that.
That is terrible advice.
Just pay your debts. And they're
because
like, well, if you always just
get
pay
a
your
fee.
Debts. Yeah, exactly. But they're like, but if you always just pay your debts on time, they have nothing really to calculate off.
No, that's incorrect.
No, what they're going to calculate is that you're paying your debts, which is what they want you to do. No, not really.
Well,
they want you to.
Well, what I would recommend to you is not actually get a loan from the bank, but to see if you can get a line of credit. Because that is the same as a credit card. A credit card, part of your FICO score and Equifax score, all that stuff, is based on you have, like I have a credit card with X amount of credit limit on it. Now, I'm nowhere near that amount. So I'm at like 5% usage on my credit. And I have some other credit cards out there that I haven't used in years. I'm surprised they're still active. When I go look at my credit report, they're still on there. So I have like tens of thousands of dollars of potential credit I could use. And part of your score is based on the amount of that credit that you're actually using. So if you have, let's say, $30,000 in credit out there, but you're not using it all, you're only using, let's say, $5,000. Well, you're at about a 15% level of usage, and that increases your credit score. If you've got $30,000 in credit, but you're using 28,000 of it, well, then you're in like a 95 percentile of using that credit up. You don't have a lot of capacity left to take on more debt. Therefore, your credit score goes down.
Yeah.
So that's really, so if you take out a personal loan from a bank then you're instantly going to have a debt of, let's say, like you said, $2,000, I think. You're instantly going to have a debt of $2,000 and a credit limit of $2,000. It's going to be, you're using 100% of your credit, which is actually slightly detrimental to your credit score. So as you pay that off on time, then your credit score actually goes up because part of the ratio is your debt usage.
Right. Yeah, it all just seems kind of dumb to me because there's only two things I want to get the credit card, like be able to get credit cards for. There's two credit cards I'd like to get. The Best Buy card, well, because I work there, so it's really convenient.
Well, and it's really the only big box electronics store around anymore.
Yeah, and because Furniture Mart's in Nebraska, Kansas, and like Texas, that's it.
Well, they've got Kansas City, Dallas. They have one in Des Moines, but I've never been to the one in Des Moines.
But see that. But you know, my big thing with it is just that the financing part of it, where again, the only reason I'd use that is so that I'm not like throwing this huge amount down at once, even though I could if I wanted to, and I'd be fine if I did. But just to make those payments, it just makes it easier on the long haul.
Well, that's called cash flow.
Yeah.
So you have the money to buy it all once, but it would deplete maybe your savings account. And I've done this at Best Buy numerous times, where I've bought the TV in the living room as an example. I bought it. Did you hear me scratching my arm?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
really
interesting. Sorry.
Your mic's not even pointing at your face. You know, it's like at your neck.
Oh wow! I wonder if people can hear me.
Yeah, because when you speak at the sides, it just sounds really different versus when you're speaking right here.
Yeah, well, anyway.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead. TV.
Yeah, TV. So I bought the TV because it was kind of expensive. I had the money in my savings account to purchase it, but I didn't want to blow all my savings on the TV. So I got a 12-month thing on the credit card, and I figured out I divided the total amount by 11 because I did get caught once where I miscalculated when the final payment was, and all that interest got loaded on the credit. But all that to say that, yeah, I just set up the savings account to transfer into checking once a month, and then the checking account automatically made a payment to Best Buy. I didn't really worry about it, and then
bam,
it's paid off. I get a notice in the mail. Oh, your Best Buy thing is paid off early, and you don't owe any more money. Kind of
yeah, I mean, there's interesting things like you can come into Best Buy and pay off the debt at the register, which I don't know if you do that at other stores, but I've never seen that in any other store, which I think was kind of neat. Reminded me of like the old days. I don't know.
Well, you could do it at Sears. I used to have a Sears charge account, and you could go in into any cash register and run your card through and make a payment. If you have a credit card through your local bank, usually you can make a payment on that credit card at the cashier.
Yeah. Best Buy only accepts checks and cash at the teller, and then any kind of. So they really frown upon people using credit cards to pay credit cards.
You can't. It's actually illegal. You can't do that.
So people come in and say, "Oh yeah, I want to pay for this." I'm like, you can't. You can link a bank card online.
Yeah. The only thing you can do between credit cards is transfer balances, which is a completely different process.
It's like consolidating to one card. But so I want to get the Best Buy card. I work there. I'd like to get the financing. Another card I want to get by the time it's released is the Apple card. Which I think we talked briefly about some other episode. But so Apple's doing things through Goldman Sachs, which I don't really like Goldman Sachs, nor do I like MasterCard all that much. But, you use them. What's neat about the card is that it's all stored through my phone. So you get a titanium card when you sign up for it. But the main thing is using your phone because there's no transactional fee for a lot of places to do that. And so, like, I'll show you on my phone.
Well,
I know you guys.
So you're saying Apple has their own credit card, and if you use their credit card through your phone, they're not charging a transaction fee?
Yeah, if you use it through no, I'm saying like through businesses, it would be a way for them to really want to use the Apple stuff. From what I understand, is that because Apple won't have a transaction fee for them. But like
that sounds like nonsense.
Dude, I don't know. I'm just saying this is from I think what they were saying is that Apple won't charge tellers so much. That's one of the ways they're trying to get people to use Apple Cash everywhere. But here's my debit card, my insurance, and my Apple Cash card. So if there's like Google Pay in a sense, I can have it transferred right here. It's $0 right now because I used it to buy monsters at work. But with the Apple card, it's instant cash back. So if you use the titanium card anywhere, it's 1% on any purchase. And then it's 2% if you use it on your phone. And then it's 3% if you use it in the Apple Store or you use it to buy other Apple products with your phone. And I just think that's really cool. What the video they showed for WWDC, which is the Worldwide Developer Conference from Apple, is this great infographic, and then the display and the model, or what do you call it, the developer program, the beta of how the system works. It really shows you your debt, how much interest that's going to incur. The girl child just texted me.
You're going to interrupt the
Sorry,
show for that?
I just had to answer. Anyways, so it has this really cool interface that I'd really like to really like to use. I think it'd be pretty darn neat to have and really just to try it. But it's that thing where the Apple Cash card, which is really nice, I like using it when there is money on it, is that when you use that card and get that 1%, Apple sends a notification to your phone automatically, and that 1%'s automatically in that Apple Cash card. Your phone dings after you use the Apple card, and the app for the little credit card kind of thing right there says, "Hey, this is your money back," and it's instantly right there, and you can use it right away. So, which I think is a really cool feature. It's 1% on anything, which isn't a whole lot. Well, there isn't much of anything. If you use it for other Apple products, you get 3% cash back, which is actually a really cool way to get people to want to buy more Apple products. Depending on what it is, it's 3% cash back. And then if there's a sale, you save more money.
But you only get. I'm looking at something online. You only get 1% cash back on anything if you use the physical card.
That's literally what I just told you.
I know, but that's so crazy.
Yeah, because they want you to use your phone.
Yeah, why is that? That sounds fishy.
No, like I use my phone to pay for most things. Like when I go into stores, I put it by the reader, dink. It scans my thumb while I do it, or if you have Face ID, it scans your face. You go, dink, it's paid for, type in my PIN, I'm out. I don't have to get my wallet, don't have to get the card or anything. It's the fastest thing. It's faster than the chip, right? So the chip, you have to wait for it. This, dink, all right, it's done.
But isn't...
Your phone's vibrating somewhere, man.
No, my phone's over there.
Oh, okay.
What I don't understand with the whole pay by phone thing is what happens when somebody steals your phone.
So they can't access it. Okay, so it's the same thing with like Touch ID. You can't get in. You can't get in my phone. You can't.
Yeah.
And because the Touch ID, and then with the Face ID, it is more secure than Touch ID. So the only way for it to work is if you are staring directly at it and you look at it. People have tried it with the 3D printed things. It just does not work. It won't pick you up if you're sleeping, because the one thing with the Apple thing people have tested where if you someone's out, you can lift their finger up and put it on and it works. Can't do it with Face ID.
So if somebody chops your finger off and takes your phone,
well, they still have to put electrical charge through it, but Face ID, I don't know how all of it works, but it works. Yeah, one of the main things is they store it on they talked about it at the conference. They store it in a special part of your phone, so that if your phone is stolen, any Apple product, I can remove my account remotely from it.
Yeah.
So my phone gets stolen, dink, it's gone. So the moment it has service, gone. There's nothing on my phone.
So this doesn't sound like much of a rant today.
No, it's just like I was kind of going on a rant, but I just felt like it was kind of like, how does this work? If you want me to go on a rant, I'll go on a stupid rant about credit, and I know it's a little past that now for the ranting, but we just kept getting bogged down by little things. Thanks, Dad. I'm not gonna blame you all for it. It's both our faults. I'll take some blame, but mostly you. Yeah. Anyways, credit is you need it. I don't think there's any way around it anymore. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, well, that is what it is.
Suck it, Dave Ramsey.
That's the wrong...
That was, boy, I know I did not do a melancholy rant for that long.
Oh, that was wrong. There we go. And with that, we want to take a moment to acknowledge all of our stream of consciousness listeners out there. We appreciate all of you for listening and adding to the value of this podcast.
And if you have found value, value in this, man, you better take get Grammarly or something. If you have found value in this podcast, please utilize our Anchor app or our PayPal link to donate and support the show. Links can be found through our website, www.bloodpumpmedia.com. You can also cross the streams of consciousness by emailing us at manchild@post.com or oldguy@post.com. We want to listen to you guys, you other listeners, so please interact with us. Look for the MCOG on Facebook. You can also listen and share through YouTube as we post episodes there. We would love to hear from you, your suggestions, your comments, so you can help produce the show.
If you like what you hear and you're finding value and entertainment in what we are doing, then by all means, tell others and cross this stream of consciousness with theirs, which is our formula for helping spread the news about the Manchild and the Oldguy podcast. So we want to thank you again for listening. There's some...
you need to put some commas in that thing, so just like...
Dude, it's the same thing we've been reading for...
I know. Well, no, you've added something.
I've changed
some
of the
listening yours. Thanks,
try...
list yours.
You've got one job, I have multiple.
Okay.
So, in the news this week, there's 3 Don't Be That Guy episodes.
Are they all guys?
Yeah, I think so, actually. Oh, I gotta get to the edited page.
Remember, the first one's the beer booster seat.
Yeah, this was...
now, you may not have known about this story because, for whatever reason, most news networks blurred out the Bud Light package the kid was sitting on this picture.
Yeah. This was actually out of Ontario in Canada. So, a driver in Canada who allegedly strapped a toddler to a beer case instead of a car seat was charged with failing to properly secure a child, police said. The 22-year-old driver was pulled over early Tuesday around 2:30 a.m. in the village of Atwood near Listowel. Ontario provincial police officers say a 2-year-old child was also in the car sitting on a 30-can case of beer. So this is definitely a Don't Be That Guy episode. This guy is a moron. That's all I'm going to say. He's a moron. I don't understand. We're in...
It's Canada, man. Dude, beer is water, you know?
But why would you put your child...
Oh, he just wanted to sit up front for once there, Mr. Mountie Man. Oh, he just wanted to sit up there? Yeah, he did. You know, I didn't have a car seat with him. He's at my ex's house. Oh, okay, that makes sense there. Just put him on that beer can. Strap him in real good, huh? Yeah, that sounds good. I'll do that.
Yeah, that is... What? Yeah, I don't know. This ticks me off. People who don't strap their kids in cars. Now, I grew up riding in the back of a station wagon, waiting for
cars are built a little more different than,
yeah,
you know.
I waited for my dad to go around corners so I would slide around in the back of the station wagon, but that was kind of unsafe. And maybe that's why I have some brain tics now. I don't know.
No, I remember there's still bench seats when I was a kid. Like your old Impala, when I was a little kid, we had. I mean, it wasn't old. I mean, it's old now. Anyways, the front seat didn't have the center console. It was this.
Yeah, you could sit 3 people in front.
Yeah, which sucked, honestly, because that transmission, that thing was huge. It's giant.
Hey.
But that thing right there, like, if you got in a car accident, we're all dead. Honestly, the way that thing was, like, freaking set up, that front console would have folded down onto our legs, chopped them off, and our heads would have gone through the windshield.
Well, the other thing is if you sat in the center of the front seat, you didn't have a shoulder strap.
You didn't have. I was gonna fly out the window because the only thing that the strap, for whatever reason, like, wasn't around your waist. It wasn't around your belt. It was like across your legs.
So what you're saying is I should have set you on a case of beer.
Yeah, I think I probably would have been a little safer. And then as I'm slowly dying, hey, you only live once.
Speaking of dying,
yeah,
our next Don't Be That Guy is a Tennessee boy who's 13, stabbed his brother saying...
Can you say that again? A
Tennessee
boy
who was 13 stabs his brother saying jail is better than a car raid with my sibling. So
Are you challenging those people in Florida right now?
Well, guess what? The 13-year-old boy from Tennessee stabbed his older brother in Florida.
There we go.
Telling deputies he would rather go to jail than spend 8 hours in a car with his sibling.
This is why the Canadians are drinking the beer and letting their kids sit in the beers, because they know it's in the water. It is infecting everyone. The Florida water, guys, if you just drink the beer, you're not going to get infected.
Yeah. So
now, the rest of the culture won't accept it. That's okay. You go to jail. You do your time because you true believer, you know the truth.
Right. Well, the sheriff said that the 13-year-old said he stabbed his brother in the arm 3 times with a multi-tool. Now, he was tired of his brother picking on him.
You're just tired of someone. Come on. I mean, I've been tired of my brothers and sisters in car rides that never like to stab them.
Yeah, well, this kid is like close to sociopath. He said he understood his rights and that he did not regret stabbing his brother who was teasing him. I stabbed him, and I don't care about going back to jail.
Key part of that sentence. Going back to jail.
I'd rather be in jail than 8 hours in a car with him. And
probably should have never left jail then.
Yeah, the 13-year-old was charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and was brought to juvenile detention.
Yeah, just do a public hanging. Just get it over.
But don't be that guy. I don't care what your brother's doing to you. Don't stab him.
I don't know. That's a pretty vague sentence there. I don't care what your brother's doing to you. Don't stab him. That's like, there's some situations.
Yeah,
it's a pretty... Just like your comment, what was it, last week about something about redheads that just like totally was off. It was wrong. And you're saying if I was off my rocker. Now I can't remember. It was in the little CGI mermaid episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. What did you say that just was so wrong?
I don't know.
You say lots of things that are just not wrong in like a factual sense, although you do have many of those, or an opinionated sense. It's like you just say some things that are just like wrong. You shouldn't say that. You're like, I'm just an old man. I don't know no better. Like,
that is not what I say.
Nah, I know you're thinking that. You're going to use that excuse in a couple of years. As soon as you can get those, old-timer benefits at the movie theater, you're going to start saying that. Because you're a card-carrying senior. That's what you're going to do. I know you. You're like, oh, I'm just an old guy. I don't know any better.
I did get an AARP application recently, but I'm not.
Man, I get AARP applications.
I know. I'm just saying. Well, our last Don't Be That Guy comes out where there's a suspect who police are looking for, and he farts so loud that they find him. And so this dude in Clay County, I forget where Clay County is here, but I actually think this is in Florida. But the officers here, if you've got a felony warrant for your arrest, the cops are looking for you, and you pass gas so loud it gives up your hiding spot, you're definitely having a really crappy day. And so this guy who police were out looking for a felony warrant related to the possession of a controlled substance, and he supposedly ate a whole bunch of Taco Bell 8 or 12 hours prior, and while they're looking for him, he just lets out a fart so loud that they find him. Which, don't be that guy. If you've got a felony that they haven't arrested for you yet, and you know
don't fart. Don't fart. If you gotta go to jail, don't fart, man.
You know the cops are looking for you. Somehow, some way, don't let it out. Keep that in.
Keep that on the inside. Clay County is in Missouri.
Missouri. There you go.
So,
Thank you.
It looks like Utah.
Well, Missouri's kind of the Midwest Florida.
There's
a lot of hinky stuff that happens in Missouri too. Not quite as bad as Florida.
Not as bad as Alabama.
Honestly, since we started this podcast and I do the segment on "Don't Be That Guy," every week it's somebody from Florida totally doing something stupid.
Yeah, it's always from Florida. I know last week you were like, "Oh, I was thinking about retiring to Florida," but you're not thinking about that no more.
No, absolutely not. This
is in the water. Do you talk? Hey, did you see the thing about those meth alligators?
Yeah, actually, I put that on for next week's.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that. That's another Florida thing.
Yep. So there's this kind of a don't be that guy, but I'm a little more concerned about what the Alexa's doing. But there's a guy who's beating the crap out of his girlfriend, and he's attacking her, and he's shouting and threatening his girlfriend, and then he yells at her and says, "Did you call the sheriff?" And his Alexa calls the sheriff on him.
Ooh.
So they had an Alexa in the house, and so they go and show up. So Alexa calls the sheriff because he said to the girlfriend while he's beating the crap out of her, "Did you call the sheriff?" And Alexa just keyed in on that and voice activated a call into the sheriff. Now,
right, so I know you're gonna get into something with this story about how he didn't say the wake word or whatever it is with Alexa, but I doubt it. All right, so testimonies given by victims of somewhere or anything like that, or some of the most just testimonies in general, are actually one of the most least credible legal things because they're always subject to change. Now, I just listened to this whole thing about. The problem with the Alexas and Googles and everything is that they don't respond unless given the wake word. Unless they say something that is eerily similar to the wake word. So like Michelle and I have played with, or the girl child and I have played with the my Google Home thing. Mm-hmm. You can say, "Okay, goo goo," and it goes on. It responds to goo goo. So, the Alexa could be...
Yeah, it's like a dog. It's responding to different... A dog doesn't actually hear its name being said. It hears a sound that it associates with itself.
I mean, I get that with the dog, but I think it's probably changed with the... I think these things, they hear what you're saying. Mm. They can recognize speech patterns, not so much just, the pitch is closer to saying a G. I think it's really just they pick it up. But, yeah, so the guy must have said something like... I don't know. I hate Lexuses. I hate driving a Lexus. Wish I had a Toyota. Did you call the sheriff? And there you go. It's close enough.
Yep, close enough. And anyway, this guy ended up getting hauled off. Now, he was maliciously beating it. I'm actually glad this happened. But if you remember when I bought a new Amazon tablet.
And you had it on the Amazon Echo show mode.
Yeah, I tried it on that dock that put it to make it like an Alexa, and you guys were kind of making fun of me, and I said, "Oh yeah, Alexa, show me porn," and then it started talking.
No. This was like, was this Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was Christmas dinner.
This is like Christmas dinner. We're sitting in our dining room. This thing's all the way across the room, in a separate room, sitting on a shelf, and my dad's like, "Oh yeah, Alexa, show me porn." And then we all hear, ding, ding, bringing up porn.
Yeah.
And we all look over, and it somehow picked up my dad's voice all the way across the room and just started, broom, 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 broom. We're running over, shut off, shut off, shut off.
Yeah. Sensitive minds.
Yeah. Well, it's just like when I had the Xbox 360 had a feature, which you still kind of use, but it's kind of crappy. Where you can speak to it, tell it to turn off, turn on, and when you're on Bing, you can tell it to search things. I remember my sister and I were trying to search stuff a couple of years ago on my 360, and she was trying to search her name, and then it started bringing up Brazilian sports porn
What?
Just because of her name, it heard Brazilian sports porn.
instead
So
of-
we're standing there, we're like, Xbox, turn off, turn off, turn off.
What? Who would even be searching that? But whatever.
You know what? We can probably put a poll out there, and there's going to be some crazy answers.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting. We've always, and I think you've grown up with this saying. I certainly did. Nice guys finish last.
Mm-hmm.
And under the guise of, and I know when I was dating in high school, the girls seemed to go out with the guys who treated them most like garbage.
Yeah.
Which eventually jaded me a little bit. But there's been a comprehensive study done now by a doctor, and they studied, excuse me, they studied a whole bunch of relationship sites and dating apps and all of that. And more specifically, researchers utilized a long-term survey of more than 2,500 heterosexual couples who've been married around 20 years. Using all of this data, the study's authors measured the impact of personality traits on well-being in these relationships, and researchers were shocked when the results indicated that shared interest and similar personalities had little to no effect on relationship satisfaction. Mm-hmm. Even among couples sharing personality traits, the study found that having a conscientious and nice partner leads to a more satisfying relationship. The study concluded that relationships including a person who is especially neurotic or extroverted leads to lower relationship satisfaction. Mm-hmm. So the studies say that nice guys actually have better relationships in the long haul.
Yeah, they have better relationships, but they don't get into the relationships. See, there's the problem right there. Because the inkling is that all girls are brought up in such a way as to be a good girl. And then when they get into high school, you get all those kids where it's like the freaking Breakfast Club, where it's like, yeah, screw you, principal man. And the girls go for that because they're just trying to rebel against what they grew up with. So a lot of times you see like the rebellious girls end up becoming the ones that go to church and doing all this other kind of stuff. And opposed to the way their parents raised them is because they're being rebellious, but that's their version of rebellion. So most people are going to go for the bad guys, even though they'll be much happier with the nicer guys.
Yeah, it's confusing to me, I guess. When I was in high school, I had several girls break up with me because they said I was too nice. And I've heard if it was only a few years from now, I'd marry you, but right now, you're not what I want.
Yeah, no, I was a jerk to some of my girlfriends, but no, most of my relationships have always been like one-sided. It's like talking to a brick wall. And I'm in a relationship now. Love where I'm at. Love my girlfriend. But a lot of my relationships have been that brick wall where, oh yeah, I'll pay for dinner again because you still don't have a job. Yeah, I'll drive you somewhere because you still don't have a license and still don't have a car. How old are you? You're almost 20.
But you're a nice guy now.
Yes, I'm a nice guy now.
And you're in a relationship with a girl child, and I'm sure long term you're going to be great.
Oh, I'm going to do a great job. Bang up job right there.
Bang up job, yeah.
No, I'm not going to hit her. Don't. That's not
you
what
don't
I'm
hit
saying.
girls because I would whack you upside.
I was like, I'm going to do a bang up job. I'm not going to hit my wife.
I'll whack you so hard.
That'll be a bang up job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, something interesting is going on the West Coast. Something I grew up with. Stories about in the overcrowding in Japan, and people would be renting like just a bed in a kind of an apartment complex. It's just full of these little tubes, and they would go inside there, and there would be a little TV and a place for some of their stuff.
There's a guy at work that lived in one of those for a little while in Tokyo.
Yeah. So I grew up seeing that happening in Japan, and there's a story recently how there's places in Los Angeles and San Francisco that are called pods and communal home, and there's like a desk underneath the bed. You push the bed up and a desk comes out, and these cost about $1,200 a month if you rented them for a month, or it's about it could be as low as $35 to $50 a night. You get a locker and a shelf and a personal TV. Because the average rent in Los Angeles and San Francisco could be between $2,300 and $4,000 a month, these things are starting to pop up. And of course, some of this has to do with millennials and Zoomers are in these like social
nomadic kind of
groups.
groups.
They feel back in my day these things would have been called hostels.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like. And so it's just kind of interesting.
And I've seen pictures of these before. They're kind of neat. It's imagine walking into a loft, and then on both sides, it's just they're split into 4 areas all the way up to the ceiling. They're just these nice wood-looking cut out. I don't know how you describe it. It's like sections. The room has an aisle in the center. Then there's 4 sections of the room that are split and have a divider in the center.
Yeah.
Each section with that divider has a bed on top, bed on bottom, and then both those beds can flip up and become a desk.
Yeah, and there's like a communal area that has the kitchen that everybody kind of shares.
I mean, it's gorgeous. I'd definitely pay $35 a night to stay in one of those. And honestly, I want to go to San Francisco and LA and things like that, and just have fun, do whatever. And I think that I don't think that's a bad idea versus hotel. Like if I'm just going in there for a night and then there's another one across town, well, I spend all day just making my way across town with some light stuff I carry. And I get to that place and I crash there for the night. Still cheaper than a hotel.
That is true. At $35 to $50 a night, it's good. Can't have guests.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit, but because people aren't buying houses and a lot of the good jobs are out that way on the West Coast, people just can't afford to live there. And the reality is that nationwide, only about a third of millennials now, which are folks upper end of that, is people in their 30s, lower 30s, early 30s, I guess is the way to put that. They're only a third of them have purchased homes. So a lot of them are renters anyway. So
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with renting because it really just get a place that suits your lifestyle. If you move around a lot, you should probably rent more than you own. But if you're really stagnant where you're at, just get a house. But I think a big issue is that you have like the baby boomers, which are about to be outpaced by the millennials as a large generation. The last thing I saw was that millennials are going to become the largest U.S. generation ever.
Oh, yeah. It was the largest birth rate ever.
Yeah. So they're like the new baby boomers, really.
As soon as the baby boomers cack off, the millennials will take over. And that's why the Gen Xers really don't get anything advertised to us. They went right from baby boomers to advertising to millennials.
Yeah,
the Gen X generation is one of the lowest birth rates ever. And there's not that many of us to go around, so the 40, 50-somethings get kind of lost in the process.
I mean, that's kind of how I feel with the Zoomers. Although I know I think we're already a bigger generation than you are, but it's just all the marketing towards Zoomers, quote unquote, is just millennials, but it's a runoff towards us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's because all the boomers were getting houses, they're making more money as they hit their golden years towards the 80s and 90s or whatever, around that time. So they're all getting big houses and all this kind of stuff. So people are accommodating for that. And then all their kids leave. And then there's all this college debt, which is just something that I don't think a lot of people foresaw happening. Then the housing crisis. So now you got all these huge expensive houses that, years ago, while they may not be still deemed affordable, were more affordable than they are now. And they're just sitting around because no one can afford them. There's no way. You had a stock market crash. The Great Recession happened. And then you had the whole issue of the student loan bubble that's going to burst, along with a couple other things. So, I mean, that's one of the main reasons millennials aren't going to get a home. It's just not feasible.
Yeah.
So
that's very difficult when you have $100,000 in student loan debt.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So something cool happened last week, which didn't get a lot of play in the new major media markets in the news, but the first baby in the U.S. born to a mother who received a uterus from a deceased donor.
Interesting.
Yeah. And mom got a uterus about 2 years ago, had the uterus for about a year, and then received some in vitro he's going to sneeze, in vitro fertilization, and became pregnant with the baby. The pregnancy went really well, and the baby was delivered normally. It's really a cool thing that this is happening, that women that have issues with their reproductive tracts, or specifically their uterus, can now get a donor uterus. It's if you're an organ donor, which I encourage everybody to be an organ donor.
Sign up. You can do it on an app now. When you first turn on an Apple device, that's one of the main things it prompts you to do now is the. Would you like to sign up to be? A body donor.
Yeah, so I never thought, when we think about being an organ donor, we think about our eyes or your liver, your spleen. I don't know if they transplant spleens, but those kind of parts, they donate often parts of people's intestinal tract, or your heart, your lungs are all transportable. You can donate all of those kind of things, but I never thought of somebody's uterus, but now that's taking place now, and I think it's great. So this woman had a nice, beautiful little baby girl, and they did have to give the baby a cesarean birth, but that happens all the time anyway. And I just think it's extraordinary that this was able to happen. And of course, it happened in the good old USA. The procedure was kind of put together in Brazil, but of course, the U.S. takes everything and makes it better. No comment?
I don't know. I think pretty much you said it all. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's cool. You put a dead person's thing in another woman's hoo-ha, and a living thing came out of it. That's pretty darn cool.
In her hoo-ha?
Yeah, I mean, your yoo-hoo. That's what my niece calls it, right?
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo.
A yoo-hoo. There's something interesting that's happened recently in the world of AI, artificial intelligence, is for the first time ever, a AI program beat all the pros in a 6-player poker game. Now, not just one game, but these multiple professional poker players were interacting with this AI called Pluribus, and it
Pluribus.
Yeah, Pluribus. I think that's how you say that. But they played 10,000 hands with this AI. So there was 13 pros at any given time. There was 5 of them playing this AI. AI, yeah. And they played 10,000 hands. And over time, the AI program was self-learning. And eventually now it just wins all the games.
Well, I know for poker, because we talked about that in my stats class, because I'm taking a summer course for it, is one thing I didn't really realize. Almost everything in life falls within a normal distribution, which is that, the bell curve, the whole bell curve situation, which is a very useful model to display the lifespan for appliances at Best Buy. But poker and dice are all perfect things for the bell curve, because it doesn't matter how many times you do it with how many players or whatever. There is always low, then a high, then a low. So it's binomial, not bimodal, but a binomial one. Has one mode, most high frequency thing. But outside of that, there's normal distribution on it. So at some point, they played enough games. So 10,000, which is enough of a sample size. N equals 10,000 is a huge sample size. Usually it's 30 to 40 that qualifies as enough. But within 10,000, samples and trials, this AI has figured out an entire bell curve, or at least the majority of it, enough to make enough decisions to figure out, the 0.05, which is the 5% critical margin of error. So move over, guys. You're not going to play poker again. The computer can beat you with an margin of error of 0.025.
Yeah.
So
it was pretty amazing. The computer actually did something that pros wouldn't do, and that's something called donk betting, ending one round with a call and starting the next with a bet. Far more than the pros would actually do. And the pros see this as a weak move, but the computer, the AI, actually saw it as a move of strength, and that helped it win. And the researchers who went through this process actually said that they're analyzing everything the AI did, and it's going to change how pros probably play poker now, which is really interesting. The next story I really want to get your opinion on because it deals with your generation.
Move over, therapy dogs. Hello, therapy cows.
Yeah, this is...
I've seen this. I saw this on Instagram.
Yeah.
People were cuddling with cows, and I'm like, at some point, this is just like those cuddle houses. The whole issue with them is, oh, we just cuddle or whatever until you slip them another 50, and then it turns into something else. I'm just cuddling with a cow till some freaky bestiality dude slips over and is a little, I wonder what some of that raw milk tastes like.
Why did you even go there?
Because that's exactly where it's going to go. Okay, one thing we did not address in the entire episode is the Black James Bond chick that just announced, which is eerily...
What's that got to do with
I'm
therapy
just saying,
cows?
look, I just talked about they're going to do this. This is the dumb thing. They're going to make some
the
butch
last
lesbian
episode we talked about some kind of crazy...
You're not going to be able to make a woman into James Bond. They're doing it.
Which I thought would be your rant today, but you wanted to go on credit.
Well, you know what? It failed thanks to you because you just kept stumbling me every way. Don't be a stumbling block, you fail, man. Come on, man. Read the Bible. But this is just another one of those things. You're going to see this. They're going to cover it up. Probably New York Times. It'll be Fox News reporting it next. It's going to be that people are starting to suck the tits. The teat of
it's called the teat.
The teat.
The udder.
The udder. Yeah, they're gonna start sucking the udders in those. They're gonna get, raw milk, and they're all gonna start dying. So
yeah,
it's gonna happen, guys. Give it. The
6
big
thing
months.
here is that there's actually a 33-acre bed and breakfast in the Finger Lakes region of New York.
The Finger Lakes
that has cows, and people go out. Stop going. You're naughty.
No, I'm not doing.
You got
The
that
Office.
cheesy.
I'm laughing because The Office, when Jim Carrey was on the show, and he's like, "Well, I'm doing this interview real quick because my family are up in the Finger Lakes. They don't know I'm here, so I got to get back pretty soon. They think I'm in the Finger Lakes, and they just kills me every time. Go ahead, you dirty man. I wasn't even thinking that, but your mind jumped to it. So obviously you got some issues. Because I'm laughing at Jim Carrey. What a great comedian. You're the one that jumps to me thinking of this, so...
Okay, anyway, cow cuddling, as a practice is called, invites interaction with the farm animals via brushing, petting, or heartfelt chats with the bovines. The experience is similar to equine therapy, with one game-changing difference. Horses tend to stand, but cows spontaneously lay down in the grass while chewing their cud, allowing humans to get even more up close and personal by joining on the ground and offering a warm embrace. This, to me, is bonkers. Why would you want an interaction with a large cow that's going to be on the dinner table in a week or two instead of having interaction with people?
Well, I mean, there's a reason why people like going to like petting zoos and things. Yeah, if I got the chance to go somewhere and it's not a cow that's been rolling around a bunch of dookie all day, or, it's a nice, well-kept, free-range cow or whatever. They don't plan on eating it. It's just there for milk. Sure, I'd love to pet it and give it a hug, just like everyone likes to pet and give hugs to horses, even though they eat them in like Norway and Sweden, which I think I've had horse meat before. I don't remember. I've had buffalo meat. I've pet a buffalo before. I think buffalo, they're probably my favorite animal. But it's just relaxing because you're like, this is another living creature. It's not just something you see on TV, you get to see in real life. So, I mean,
but these people are using the cows as counselors.
I know that. They're not counselors because they're morons. But I can see the allure of, like, hey, this is like, get a taste of something really real. Come out here and, like, go hang out with the cows for a bit. Like, there's a farmer, I think he's in California or he's in Texas. You pay him to work on his farm. Yeah. You pay him. You work one day, you get up at like 4 a.m. just so you can get that farm line thing. You pay like $150 for the whole day, which is great. Yeah, and every day he just shows everyone how to do all this kind of stuff, and he gives you some kind of certification at the end saying you've been trained to work on a farm. But
so he prints out a certificate.
Yeah, pretty much. But it sounds like a really cool thing. So I get the allure of some of the stuff. There's probably just some cash grab for some farmer dudes like, hey, Betsy ain't making milk like she used to. Well, bring in the kids. Bring in the millennials. They're going to start petting Betsy because she ain't making milk like she used to.
They're going to pay for anything, I guess.
Yeah. If you pet my cow, you get 2% cash back, too.
Oh, my goodness. Use your Apple Pay. Right?
Apple Pay, and I'll give you a free bottle of raw milk. Isn't that illegal? Not if you don't tell nobody.
Goodness. Well, to change subjects a little bit, going back to Florida.
Things got a little slashy after boyfriend told Florida woman that he was too tired for sex.
Yeah. After the boyfriend said he was...
Is that the girlfriend or the boyfriend?
That is... Well, it looks like a man, but it's a girl. It's a lady.
You sure? Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to see her face underneath that mustache there.
I don't see a mustache, but it's
a joke.
It's pretty rough.
Looks like a man.
A Florida woman allegedly grabbed a kitchen knife and slashed her boyfriend multiple times in the arm and shoulder, according to a criminal complaint, because he said he was too tired to have sex. So they got into a verbal argument over the defendant wanting to have sex, and the victim did not because he was too tired. So she grabbed a knife and cut his arm. The couple began grappling on the kitchen floor. When they briefly separated, Chapman allegedly cut the victim's left arm and shoulder multiple times, and she also headbutted and punched her boyfriend in the face. And she was arrested, and she is already facing a probation violation charge in connection with her guilty plea last year for illegally possessing marijuana, crystal meth, and the antidepressant Xanax. And she was sentenced in October for 2 years. So she obviously probably needs the Xanax. But
Okay. So I thought Florida was a green light for weed, but I guess it's only medical.
Yeah.
Down there. So that's why I was like, maybe says it'll be on the 2020 ballot will be recreational. But I was like, maybe it's because she's a felon. That's why it's illegally possessed. Because I thought, man, if it's recreational, you can't get charged with that anymore. But I guess it's only medical, so it makes sense to me. But yeah, why is it that I'm just saying, I'm not calling out women or anything like that, but like in movies and everything, why is it always depicted that if the woman doesn't want sex, it's because, well, that's her right. But then in the movies when the guy's like, oh, I'm too tired, honey. He must be cheating on me. He doesn't love me. Oh, he's a horrible person. I'm just saying, that's every time I watch a movie where it's like a serious romantic or whatever, it's, I'm tired. Oh, you respect your rights. And then when it comes to the dude doesn't want to do it in the movies, it's always, he just murdered someone.
Yeah, it's all stereotyping. Because guys are supposed to always want sex, right?
That's what BuzzFeed told me.
That's what I read on the Reddit.
Yeah, that's what the what is that thing called? There's an organization in Omaha, I can't remember what they call it. They give out birth control, condoms, and protective sex stuff for free. I can't remember what they're called, but I follow them on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because I think that's an awesome service, especially in Omaha, which has one of the highest HIV rates in the nation. So I'm like, yep, you guys do it. Go. Give it away. Give it away.
Give it away.
Lower the number, please.
Yeah. So there is this interesting thing going on. The New York Daily News had a story a couple of days ago about self-cloning ticks that sucks animals' blood dry. They spark concern because humans may be next. Now,
that is a massive tick.
Yeah, it's quite a large tick. Number one, they're carrying different kinds of disease. There's actually follow-on stories to this that are claiming that these ticks who clone themselves are actually a biological weapon developed by the Department of Defense, and they got loose.
ADOD. Oh! That makes so much sense. Because I just saw something on the radio. I think it was NPR talking about...
saw something on the radio?
Well, it's podcast. Okay, look, it gets complicated. You know what? I just heard something on the radio.
Listen, do you smell something?
It was. I think it was NPR I was listening to, and they're talking about representatives talking to the federal government and the Department of Defense, asking all these questions. Have you done this? Have you attacked these people? What is this? And the topic of ticks being used as a weapon came up, and I'm like, man, what kind of far-left freako just decided that we're going to use ticks to kill the Americans? But then I saw this, and I'm like, this all makes sense now. This is why people are questioning the government about, hey, did you make those ticks last summer? They bit up Aunt Gretchen's arm.
Yeah. Well, these are self-cloning super ticks, and they're sparking worry because they're linked with killing 5 cows by sucking their blood dry in North Carolina. Now, I've been.
I want to see pictures of that cow.
I've been to slaughterhouses.
It's a lot of
and
blood.
There's a lot of blood in a cow, and so if there was enough ticks on a cow to suck it dry, that's a lot. Asian longhorn ticks were first found in the U.S. in 2017, and earlier this year, an article published in the journal Clinical Infectious Diseases noted that the first man was bitten by one of the pests in New York State. Their finding was extremely worrisome for several reasons, because of these ticks are pretty bad. The Asian longhorn species has sparked concern as females can lay eggs and produce without mating.
So they're asexual. It's not cloning like people. Okay, I know some people are like, "Oh, asexual and cloning are the same thing." I'm like, not really. But so these ticks are just asexual. They don't need another partner to reproduce.
Yeah, and an individual animal may have thousands of these ticks on it at one time. And the ticks carry multiple infections and viruses outside the U.S., but to date, the ticks have not been found carrying any diseases in our country. However, bites from the ticks have been made people in other countries seriously ill, which has sparked concern as the ticks were found responsible for the death of 5 cattle. The livestock owners are supposed to watch out for ticks after they had acute anemia, which occurs when there is an abrupt drop in red blood cells, typically caused by acute hemorrhage or destruction of the blood cells. So there's so many ticks on a cow, and they were sucking so much blood at one time. Acute means it happened instantaneously.
Yeah.
They were sucking so hard on a cow that they sucked its blood out like that.
Man. Well, it looks like it's only they've only been found in Arkansas, Connecticut, Kentucky, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia. So it's really kind of like the
East Coast, South.
East Coast, Southeast kind of
kind of thing.
Must be that swampy kind of.
All
those places all have that swampy kind of thing, right? I don't know. The swampy, what is that weather? Is that just climate, the landscape?
Yeah, a lot of different.
Muggy.
A lot of different things. So, I don't know, but this concerns me. And like I said, there's other stories where people are claiming that this is some kind of Department of Defense manipulation of ticks, and it's some kind of warfare.
I don't know. Do you think we're using ticks? I just feel like that is an exponential problem if we ever decide, let's get, I don't know, grasshoppers and put nuclear radiation on them. Yeah, that's probably going to go really bad really fast. There's no way to contain that. I don't feel like I'm sure the government's tested it, to see, but it would be in a box, and they threw a rat at it, and then they just vaporize the whole thing. I don't think they'd be like,
our government's
let's just throw
done
it on this.
some really strange.
Hey, we made crack.
Right.
So
we've done some really crazy stuff. So
you think they just went to Flint, Michigan?
No, I think they possibly created these ticks and released them overseas,
and then made their way back over.
Yeah, I think that either somebody or they were creating them here, and one accidentally got out, and obviously they can breed by themselves, so they just started.
How would you tackle this? Okay, sure. You topple some third world government by killing everyone with ticks. Now you can't invade that country because it's Chernobyl 2.0, but with ticks.
With ticks.
What are you gonna do now? Nothing.
Well, but it's about as the story states that the ticks spread disease, and it's not about the ticks per se, but if they can inflict a population with a certain virus that we just happen to have the cure for, or our troops are inoculated with.
Who cares about the diseases, man? You got micro vampires that can kill you in 10 seconds.
Right.
Sure. Oh, you got Ebola. Here you go. You're safe, man.
Yeah.
What'd you say? And they fall over dead because all the blood just got sucked out of them.
I'm scared enough of Midwest ticks giving me Lyme disease. I don't need
I don't know how many ticks.
Some tick that's 5 times the size of a normal one, sucking and getting thousands of them on me at one time.
I get scared seeing the little black ones that you can kind of pull off because there's nothing too bad with them. When I was working maintenance at a camp, dude, I'd take off my socks and somehow they're on my foot. I'm like, there
Yeah.
you go, pull them off in the shower.
Right. Well, a little sad news that in 2019, more and more retail stores are closing. 6 months into 2019, this is a story out of the USA Today, there have already been 20% more store closings announced than in all of 2018, according to a new report from Global Marketing Research from CoreSite Research. Based on CoreSite's research figures and retailers' earnings reports, more than 7,000 stores are slated to shutter this year, with thousands of locations already gone. And one of the things in this story that caught my eye was I didn't realize Payless Shoe Stores was filing bankruptcy.
Yeah,
and it will close its remaining U.S. stores at the end of last week.
I didn't realize that. I thought they were waiting next year to close their stores. So I was going to go there a couple weeks ago, and I was telling one of my coworkers about it. Like, oh, I'm going to go there and buy a bunch of shoes because my dress shoes I've had for like 10 years are from Payless. And they still look good, still work. And then they're like, oh, no, they already closed it. What? And they're like, yeah, they already closed them all. But, this isn't because of the economy. This isn't because of online marketing. This is because of just being a total crap. I want to use cuss words to describe some of these people that run these companies. They just sit around and make bank. They don't care about the customers. They don't care about the customer service. They don't care about any of that. Well, the last time Sears, you went into a Sears, before it even was dead, it looked dead. Because they didn't put any care into it. They had these massive stores.
No.
No, look, they had the chance to tackle online stuff, to be like ahead of the game.
It has nothing to do with any of that.
What are you talking about?
Because they had massive amounts of employees, and instead of
they had all those pensions. I get it. They had the pensions. They had all this stuff.
They're legally required to pay out on those pensions. Otherwise, retirees don't have their money. So they're trying to refinance all of that stuff on top of trying to keep stores at the cutting edge. It's just like the federal government. There's just not enough money to go around.
But dude, there's the thing. I'm not gonna go and say this is the main reason is because you got these stores.
They underfunded stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's the thing is they're like, oh, we gotta pay all these pensions. Well, you know what? Instead of like really trying and innovating on areas that you have a history of doing well in and going that route, you're just gonna fold in. And because you're folding in, like, well, we don't want to spend any money. Well, if you don't spend any money, you're not making any money. So you're paying all these pensions, but your stores look like they're stuck from the 1980s or 90s, or even worse, the 2000s, which is one of the
the 2000s.
Look, a store that's not been touched in the 90s looks better than a store not touched since 2001. Okay. That is the honest truth. The 2000s are just cringy with things. But you get like Toys R Us, where the stores stayed like exactly the same since I was a kid. The only thing that's changed is they didn't have shingles on the front by the words Toys R Us anymore. They just became this blue plastic shingles. They weren't real. The old ones, like in Moline, Illinois, they still have the original. And the paint job changed. That's it. Nothing about the store has changed, which people are like, oh, well, that's a good thing, right? No, you gotta change certain things about it to keep it relevant. Like when you first walk into Toys R Us, you don't see the toys. Right, you go down a little hallway and go in there. Right, that may be a cool little thing to do. Well, you're not going to get people off the street. And then you get like Payless, right? So they were pulling all the strings before they filed for bankruptcy. They opened up some Payless or some like weird way of saying Payless, but it was all black and muted and sparkly floors and the lights.
Very goth.
No, it looked like chic and high end and bougie, and it was Payless shoes. But they were charging hundreds of dollars, and they had all these social media influencers going in, taking pictures, saying, "Oh, I'll drop $500 for this pair. That's a cheap price for these. I think this is probably worth close to $1,500. I don't know how they got the price down so low." And they go to the register and like, "Sorry, that's $10. What? Oh yeah, these are from Payless." And that was the whole joke behind the whole thing. It was just a Payless store. They could have done that, right? But their stores were untouched, unkept, horrible.
They're a shoe store.
Yes, but they could have done so much more to battle every other store that looked better, was nicer. Their model was just to be this cheap little thing with the big mirrors and have the crappy boxes. You got to switch it up. You change the paint colors, change what the people wear. You got to do things to keep up with it. Payless online presence. Was there an online presence? I don't know. Probably was. Never heard from it, though. And that's the issue, is these companies, is that, yeah, we had this one issue. We don't want to change. We did so well for so long. Change it. If you want to survive, you have to change it. Or you can't stay stagnant for so... There's certain things...
That I agree with. You got to...
But that's the problem.
You got to change with market conditions.
They don't change with the market conditions. They stay because, historically, this is how we've always been. Too bad. The world's not historic anymore. It's modern. So either you go in the text... No, the world isn't right now where, we are living in a historic age. No, you're living in a modern age. Historic age was last week, which is where your business is going to be if you don't get with the modern age.
Yeah, you got to keep moving, that's for sure.
And that's why I think all these companies go under. And it's stupid, because they're good companies.
So you're saying poor management.
Toys R Us definitely was poor management on the highest level.
Well, they sold out to a bunch of venture capitalists eventually. But they're
supposed to come back.
Yeah, they're actually going to open some more stores on a smaller footprint. But, of course, they kept the rights to the name because it's going to be more of a web-based kind of thing. The couple of the stores that I was surprised by, Shopko's closing 371 stores, which includes some of their hometown stores. So hometown stores are typically in small towns that don't have a Walmart. And so that kind of surprised me.
We had Shopko's growing up.
Yeah, and in Shopko's, guess what? Payless had paid to place some of their stores in Shopko's.
Yeah.
But also Lifeway Christian Resources, or the Lifeway Christian stores.
Never heard of it.
Well, actually, you've shopped in a lot of them wherever we've moved around, and to get resources for some of the ministries we do. And it's unfortunate in the Midwest that a lot of their stores are closing. Also, Dress Barn, Family Dollar, GNC is closing 233 stores. Walgreens is closing 195 stores.
Yeah, they're switching to larger general store models. So
Victoria's Secret's closing 53. Sears, of course, is closing more, 72.
Yeah, you got the issue with Victoria's Secret over there is because you have the pink store, you have Victoria's Secret, and there's another one, and it's like they just keep expanding. And it's becoming too much. Like, if you go to malls, the areas for Victoria's Secret are massive.
Yeah.
It's just, how do you pay for all that? You got expensive stuff in there, and when people go in there, they never buy the super expensive stuff. Very rarely. They'll buy all the little cheap things here and there.
Somebody's got to be buying something, I guess.
Well, they are, but I mean, that's probably why they're going under, is because it's just...
Well...
you got too much stuff going on at one time.
There's a cataclysm here because the malls own a whole bunch of property. The cities have been banking on the malls paying property taxes, and then to recoup the cost of running this massive mall and to have to pay the local property taxes, the malls charge huge amounts of rent that get people to get the stores in there, and the stores just can't afford to pay it anymore, which is why you see things like JCPenney, 27 stores going down, Bath and Body Works, 24, a whole bunch, all kinds of, J. Crew is closing 20, Lowe's is closing 20, Target's closing 6.
Yeah, I think
Whole Foods,
Target's switching to all the super Targets are going to become normal Targets.
Yeah,
where it's groceries, clothes, all that kind of stuff. So any Target that's not the groceries and clothes, they're like shutting down, quote unquote, either be remodeled or like rebuilt somewhere else.
And Pier 1 Imports is closing 57 stores with more to be announced.
Yeah, they've been going down for a while.
Yeah. So I was just really disappointed to see all that. But in spite of that, our economy is still, at least what the government tells us, is doing well. So
yeah, I think it totally is. But I think this is just kind of proof of it, is where when the economy's doing really well, a lot of those stores like Shopko, Payless aren't the places you go to spend crazy amounts of money. It's where you're it's conservative budget. You can honestly, you can get Payless really good shoes. That's why I like going there. But the problem was their shoes last a lot longer than other shoes, in my opinion, and you didn't have to go get another one for a while. But our economy's doing way better, so people aren't shopping at the cheap places. They're spending the real money somewhere else.
Yeah, on Amazon.
Probably part of it, yeah.
Well, our last story for today, it comes from MarketWatch.com, and it's comparing all the states for how much obesity is in them. Mm-hmm. And they've totaled up how much obesity costs. And can you guess what the number one fattest state in the union is? You're looking at the map.
I'm looking at the map. I don't see what.
It's take a guess. Well, don't look at the map. Just take a guess. What's the fattest state?
I want to say like Texas or something.
Yeah, Texas is pretty fat. But actually, it's West Virginia. And Mississippi lands the number 2 spot.
Okay, that's when I was looking at the map. I wasn't sure if I was looking at it the correct way. So it's got it in different colors and things. It was saying, oh, something less than 20%.
West
more.
Virginia.
I didn't know if that was obesity or people that weren't obese.
Yeah, so 38% of adults in West Virginia are obese, considered obese.
Wonder why.
Number 2 is Mississippi, where 37% of folks are obese, which kind of surprised me. But I am glad that, as typical, growing up in Nebraska, we're right in the middle of the pie. Number 28.
Quick question. Why does it say 51?
Because they're counting the District of Columbia.
Okay, I was like, all right, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couch potato index, states where adults get 0 exercise. And number 1 on that is Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. Just people just sit on their front porch all day smoking. So,
but the study says they sit on their porch all day smoking in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just like Alabama.
So it costs, if you're obese, they're estimating the cost is $1,400 a year, higher than those of a normal healthy weight.
Yeah.
But other estimates put that at about 27. So if you're fat, your medical cost will be about between $1,500 to $2,800 higher. And they are also saying that people in Hawaii live 6.5 years longer than those in Mississippi.
Yeah, well,
good weather and good sunshine help out.
And lots of fruits. I wonder if, in my head, it seems to make sense where if you live in a bigger city, the less obese you'll be, but the smaller town you live in, the more obese you'll be. In my head, this seems to work out. Like in a small town, you don't have all those places you want to go to constantly to get groceries and food like all over. Mm-hmm. And you want to bring it back to your house or whatever, and everything's so fast that you just don't have time to do anything. But in a small town, it's like, well, the buffet's open from 6 a.m. to 5 a.m.
So in
why don't
small towns,
we go?
We all talk like Hicks?
In Kentucky.
Okay.
Because from 6 a.m. to 5 a.m., buffet's open.
Manchild at
and
post.com.
And then we go and we sit on our front porch and we go and done smoke some cigars.
Manchild at post.com.
Yeah, Marlboro gives us a check every month. Yeah, but hey, you know what? I'm not obese.
Yeah. Well, I guess I am.
I was obese.
I am
but I beat it. Thank you, radiation.
I am a middle-aged, doughy
white guy.
Doughy white guy. So, well, that's about it for today. We'll be broadcasting from the basement again next week.
This podcast will be posted this week as well.
Yeah. I'm the old guy.
And I'm the man-child.
Don't forget to cross the streams of consciousness with others, as we've done with you. Until next week, a reminder from the old guy, don't fall up a down elevator, and...
if I don't make it back, just remember, you made me come here.
So we'll see you next time. God bless you.
Thanks, guys.
bloodpumpmedia.com